Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got a bunch of people jumping on here. So excited to see you all here. Aleah, thanks for jumping on. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm excited to be here with you all.
Amazing. Here, I'm going to go ahead and pin you as being more main on the screen, just because I think that's going to look nicer.
Okay.
And here we go. We're going to try this out. There we go. Anyways. I'm super excited, folks, to bring you this interview here today. We got a bunch of people on. If you've been jumping on, you can comment questions as we go through this interview here with Aleah, whether you're watching the live here or you're going to be watching after the fact. Just because I know we're gonna go through a lot today, but there's always so many more details that we could go through. And so I know there's a lot of questions that might be had. If you're going to be asking them live, you're going to get live answers, which is fantastic. But if you're watching the replay, we'll still get to you. But Aleah, let's go ahead and just introduce who you are to people. And then we can dive into some of the really, really fun stuff here today.
Sure, I would love to. So my name is Aleah Deckant, and I am a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, which is a mouthful. Basically, I work in the functional health space, and I help midlife women who are struggling to get answers. They're kind of being told that they are normal, but they don't feel great. And so I help them identify what those imbalances are, and then we work to correct those together so that they can live their best life in this second season, as they should. Everyone deserves to feel good.
I 100% agree. It's like one of those cheesy sayings that health is wealth, right? You know, like at the end of the day, if you're healthy, there's not many problems or there can be many different problems, but if you're not healthy, then that's the only problem that's usually in the world,
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So let's do this because you've seen, I want to talk about a couple different areas of your business that have allowed you to grow it so much. Let's start with just like a 2-minute cliff notes of where the business was before working with CCI, so people have a bit of a picture of kind of where it was and then what we were able to work on. So just give them like a quick snapshot of where things were at.
Sure. So before CCI, I had been running my own practice for about 2.5 years. I would say the way it operated was more of a hobby practice. I didn't have metrics for tracking my business. I did everything that I thought I knew was right, tried to follow all the influencers online of what they were suggesting for Instagram, bought course after course after course, continuous education, doing all the things, and it just didn't hit. Right.
Yeah.
It's like I knew I had a good system, I had good results, but it wasn't getting out there beyond local. So it was much more people that knew me, the know, like, trust factor that happened there. So before CCI, I would say on average, I probably dealt with about 3 active clients at a time. That was doing pretty good. Some months it would be nothing, and I would just be working in the business, but just kind of was just, slowly peeking my way through.
Yeah, 100%. You know what? I'm kind of curious about this. You said you bought a bunch of different courses. Were these like courses that were telling you that we're going to like help you grow your business and stuff like that?
They were all things, yes, about trying to help grow the business, especially doing more like automated funnels where you're not actually talking to people, but you're setting up this back end system where people are dropped in and it's nurturing them the whole time.
Right.
Did not pan out for me at all. I don't know that I got one client from any of those, to be honest. So
well,
and I
so
spent
curious.
a lot of time on it. So
yeah, I'm always just so curious about that. Because we're going to go into the strategies that did work for you, but I'm actually curious, just like quick note on this is, why do you think those strategies didn't work for you? Like just from your perspective.
So a lot of those strategies just relied on people coming to you and wanting to enter your funnel before they know anything about you, trust you, think you have any kind of good head on your shoulders.
Right.
It relies on them actually having some form of expectation that they would get good results by even wanting to give you their email address. And I think that's where we lose a lot of that, because there are a lot of people online and they want to you need to seem like a real person. So you need to actually be visible there and not just have this system running in the background.
100%. You know, in a world where we are so obsessed with automation and AI, I made a post yesterday. I was being a little bit spicy with it. I was like, AI is like a massive sword that if you are great at wielding it, you can dominate. And if you are terrible, you'll cut off your own leg. And that's what AI is at this point, right? Where a lot of these funnels and automations, people think, good one, Ruben. Thank you, Terry. Terry thinks I'm funny. That's good. This is where like so many people, they're like, I want passive income and automation and all these things. And then all of a sudden they realize that it was a lot of work for nothing, right? And no results. I truly believe we're going to be heading into this kind of like, especially 2026, where AI is getting really important. But I think especially people are starting to like see the AI slop on social media, and they're scrolling faster than ever. And it's going to be so important to, yes, use AI in the ways that it's going to be incredible at, but also to be even more human on social media. Because, I mean, we've seen this happen so many times. Every single time something gets automated or bots come into something or whatever it is, they do streamline certain systems, but then also people crave that authenticity, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm completely off topic at this point. Now, you bought a bunch of courses. Why decide to join a program like ours that's a little bit more like one-on-one mentorship, different things like that? Why continue to try things? Like, what was your thought process with like, okay, I need to find something different, something new?
So my thought was, I had tried all of these back end systems that were supposed to work. And you know what they say about just insanity, or the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And so I was like, okay, time to stop, pause. And so this was kind of like my last ditch effort, because it's like, I knew inside that I had the capability and the possibility to have something really good and solid here. But that was going to require me doing something different than I had been doing up until that point. And when we first started talking, your approach and almost more of a service mentality with how, I think you helped me with an Instagram issue that had absolutely nothing to do with coaching or anything. And I was like, yes, this is the type of person I want to be working with. This is the group, because that is how I want to lead my business. And they are like-minded people. So that made me trust you and what you guys have in your coursework to be able to try something different. And I just decided, one, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all in. Everything you guys asked me to do, I'm just going to do it with no questions, even if it makes me uncomfortable. Just go forward, because I won't know if it works if I don't actually go all the way in and do all of the pieces that are asked of me.
You just said so many things that I'm going to try to pull out a couple different things. The first thing that you said is that you actually bought into it because of like-mindedness or seeing the service-oriented part. If I can pull that kind of string a little bit further, it's basically you actually bought the human behind the brand.
100%.
Which that makes me feel really good. Thank you so much. But that's actually such a good note for everyone watching this here or watching the replay. I'm going back to the AI thing. This is why you got to be authentically yourself, because there's so many people who are just being the same boring person on social media, or just like using AI pictures and not even being themselves. It's you bought the human, right? Now, I always tell people, usually people are going to buy from who you are and the results you get. And sometimes like your strategies or your methods, if they haven't like whatever. So like there's a couple different things, but I love that you said that. The second thing you said is that you said that you were going to go all in, right? Like you weren't going to just like join a program and dilly-dally a little bit and like just like maybe try it. You just were going to do all of it, no matter if it felt. Now, this actually makes me curious. Were any of the strategies like really uncomfortable, and were you like, oh, I'm going to do it anyways?
So prior to CCI, I very rarely put myself or my face in my account and on my video. I had started to a little bit, but definitely not as much as what I do now. I didn't talk on stories as much. I've gotten much more comfortable with it, which is lovely. Thank you. And And then talking to just people online and having I wasn't doing any of that. So the thought of actually starting conversations and having these back end conversations and not wanting to feel like I was salesy or gimmicky or anything like that, and how to put the human touch on it. That took a little bit, but I love it now. I mean, that's some of my favorite part of what I do, in addition to the coaching, obviously. So
yeah, 100%. Okay, that's so fun. So now, obviously, you joined CCI. I'm guessing CCI was a little bit more expensive than your courses. There's probably
absolutely
a bit of a higher investment.
Yep.
Which a lot of people are worried about, because they're like, a lot of people do, when they first look at getting help, they do look for courses or memberships that are more what they would call affordable. What in your mind made it be like, I know you said this is like a last ditch effort, so maybe that was part of it. What was like in your mind being like, yes, I am going to spend more on my business than I ever have? Like, was it like, I'm going to buy something that's more expensive because I want better quality? Or was it just like, let's just see where this goes? What was your thought with that?
It was more the better quality. I knew that if I was spending more, I was going to get more out of it. But I also knew my commitment to everything and going all in was going to be higher if I had a higher dollar amount tied to it. So it was like, if I'm spending that, I better be doing everything they're asking me to do, or I'm wasting that money on the table there.
100%. And sometimes this gets me in trouble, but I often work so incredibly well, like when I have paid a lot of money for something. I think it's just how it works. Like, it's just, you pay attention to what you pay, right? And so, no, I love that. Let's dive into strategy. Folks, if you have questions about the strategy that Aleah used, you comment down below. But I want us to kind of break this up into, I'm going to kind of call it 2 different phases. And this is how I viewed it. You can actually completely change this if you don't agree with me, Aleah. But I feel like the first 3 months in CCI was really learning about kind of the systems and new way of starting to get marketing. And we saw some good results in the first 3 months. Yeah. But then the second 3 months, especially month like 5th and 6th, things like freaking took off for you. Yeah. So I want to kind of separate those 2 seasons, because I think sometimes people see, oh, Aleah is now at 40 some clients or whatever it is. Like, and they don't realize that maybe the biggest growth actually happened like in month 5 and month 6 of working on this, not actually month 1 and month 2, right? So let's talk about the first 3 months. What do you like? Let's talk about maybe how many clients you got up to in the first 3 months. So you kind of were averaging around 3 active clients in the first 3 months. Kind of what did we get up to with new clients coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually happy to kind of switch this into the dollar amount situation now that we're live with like-minded peers. We talked about that leading into this. So it makes it easier to try to explain this for people who are watching. And I think that's important to hear what the potential is. So the first month, I think I had like 2 new clients and my packages were lower. So that was maybe like, I want to say $6,000-$7,000, something like that. The second month, it was a little bit higher. I was definitely pulling in about 15,000 by month 3. And then it just kept climbing. And I think month 4 was in the 30s. Month 5 was in the 30s. Month 6 was 50. Like $49,991. I think actually I was $9.
Exactly. I know. 50. I was like, Aleah, you need to sell like $9 more.
I know. I'm like $9, right? So that was insane. So month 6 for me was what I had pictured doing if I was doing well in my business in a year.
Yeah, for sure.
So
for sure,
I was just like, I didn't even have words. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. This is crazy. This is so wild.
100%. I think a lot of people, when we think of going from, I think when you were starting, it was like averaging $2,000-$3,000 a month.
Yep.
A lot of people going from there to like having a $49,000 month. It almost doesn't seem real. I remember like as an entrepreneur, like quitting my job where I was making like $3,000 a month, and like all of a sudden having these months being like, how is this even legitimately a thing? How does this work? Let's try to break this down into strategy, because I know we did a bunch of different strategy, right? We had some collaborations that worked really well. I want to get more specific on kind of some of the Instagram mini ad stuff that we did, because that's what we teach basically all of our clients at this point. When we started to like grow the following, how did that start to translate into more calls booked and more clients coming in for you?
It was like turning the faucet on.
Yeah.
I mean, where I had nothing even dripping in, I think I wouldn't even average 1 to 2 new followers a week prior to CCI. And then once we started doing the mini ad strategy, 25 to 30 a day. So you're looking at, what is that? I don't even know. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, like
So
200.
each week I had a huge chunk, and all of those were conversations that I could have, which then translated into booking discovery calls, which then translated into clients. And I mean, that one thing right there, game changer for the entire business.
And this is like, I have to kind of like, I shot myself in the foot, okay? Because back in 2020, guess what I was preaching to all my clients? You don't need to have a big following to get clients, because that was actually more true. And like back in 2020, we also told our clients, like, you don't have to spend money on ads, like do organic. And then the space changed. And I was, oh shit, guess what? We're going to have to evolve and like help our clients evolve. And the way I describe it right now anyways is like, do you think you have a better chance of selling lemonade if you're on a Miami beach and 200 people are coming by per hour? Or do you think if you were up here in Canada in the middle of a snowy forest, what do you think is going to work better for selling lemonade, right? And that's what many do for you. You just get more people seeing yourself, more at-bats. And because we're calling out such a specific person, they're actually like, what are you selling your package for at this point? Like, what's your signature offer? What's it priced at?
$3,800.
$3,800.
Yep, which is quite a bit more than what it had been to start.
Right, which this is something we also worked on, right? Increasing the prices as you go along. This is actually one of the biggest pieces, which is understanding that like these aren't like, a lot of people are scared that they're going to grow their following and they're going to become an influencer and make no money, right? And you only become an influencer if you get a ton of followers, but they're random and not relevant to the work you do. If you get a ton of followers, but they're incredibly relevant to the work you do, they're specific, right? So there's a ton of them and they're specific. That's where like you want to be. And I mean, 25 to 30 followers a day. How much money were you spending? Like $5, $10 a day?
$10. I did the $10.
$10 a day. Okay. Basically, you're getting like a new follower for about 30 to 35 cents, right? Basically.
Yeah. So
that is insane. That's insane. Okay, I need to keep moving because I could just like riff on this for a long time. So the first, and actually I had some like little cards here. I've been using these in my content a little bit more. So we talked about the attraction system, right? This is the attraction system of getting the right person to follow you. So that's what we started to do. People started to turn into clients. Let's now talk about the conversion of how you actually turn these followers into clients. We kind of call it our loop method, which is basically how do you take this new follower, warm them up, maybe give them some free resources, have a conversation, get them on a sales call, all of that. So maybe walk people through what were I'm going to break this into two things. What was, number one, the main strategy that helped you have conversations that turned people into sales calls? What are the key things that you feel like led you to being super skillful in that?
Sure. So one, it was the humanity aspect of everything. So being a real person, talking to them behind, it was apparent that I was not some bot that was just spitting things back at them. But one, it was reaching out to them. So that was how it all started, was that, these new leads are coming in and I'm not sitting on them waiting for them to come to me in the DMs. I'm reaching out to them, introducing myself, saying, hi, what brought you here, starting a conversation. And then from there, I just get to learn more about them. What are the issues that they're having with hormones and gut health? And what have they tried that hasn't worked? How can I be of service? Whether it's, here's a guide that could maybe help you with this information and this piece that can help with that information. Yeah. And from there, you develop that know, like, trust factor because you are there actually listening to them. And so many clients are gaslit at that point. And so finally they have someone actually invested and interested in what is going on with them and willing to listen to their story and hear it, and give advice where they can. And so that just kind of naturally leads down the pipeline to booking a call, just because they're like, finally someone that wants to actually help and not just say, you're normal, sorry.
Yeah, 100%. I love how we keep bringing this back to like just the human conversations, right? And not only superhuman conversation, I could tell as you were going through, we talk about this, you also are following a good framework, right?
Oh, yes, because totally.
What we see happen is we have two extremes. We have the person on this end who like basically becomes in the friend zone because they don't actually lead the person. They just are a friend and they just like basically become a peer. And then on the other hand, we have people who like sell too quickly, right? And they push too hard. You are following a great framework where you dove into their struggles. You really understood them. You asked them about their goals. You asked them about what they've tried in the past. You got to understand them, but then you also led them to seeing that they needed to do something different and asked if they were open to that, right? And I think that's so important, is that you have to learn to, yes, be human and understand them, but you also have to be a leader. One of our other clients the other day, they referred it to as they needed to become their pro version of themselves, because sometimes we're not used to like leading people and like basically taking them along and showing them the way that they need to go because of our own insecurities or doubts or whatever it is. So I absolutely love that. Let's move to the second stage. You got these people on calls. So many health practitioners or nutritionists, dietitians that we work with are scared of being salesy. So again, there's like the two ditches. They like, some people, they like don't sell at all and their sales are terrible. And then there's people who like they're too salesy. And what did you think was the main pieces that helped you find a way to close a lot of clients, but do it in a way that I'm guessing still feels pretty good for you? Because if it didn't feel good, you'd probably stop doing it. And you're still doing it. So what worked for you there?
So just like the DM framework, we have a framework for the call, and that totally changed everything for me. I was so used to just kind of regurgitating everything that the program could be and just throwing it at them and being like, okay, if you want it, here you go. Instead of really getting into a deeper conversation like in the DMs, but going further in depth of what their experience is, what they need, tying it together and helping them visualize the possibility of what could be versus just saying, here's everything on a platter. If you want it, great. So it was helping them see what the end goal could be and see the possibility that they have within themselves to be able to get these answers, make these changes. I got really comfortable talking about what I do and my part in that process, which I don't think I was before, or at least I know it comes out a lot differently now. So, but just having that framework that CCI provided I was able to grow in that area exponentially. Whereas before it was really pretty abysmal. For sure.
The other day I was creating a reel and I was talking about how like scripts and frameworks, like we give our clients like you, they just take you from like you not knowing at all what to do like on a sales call to just giving you like a pathway, right? And you still have to get good at the skills and you actually get better at the pathway, but it just takes you from like not knowing at all to having some clarity, right? Which most people don't sell because they don't have clarity on how to sell and they're scared of like selling too hard, therefore they don't look at the skills of selling. So I love that. The last thing I wanted to talk about here, well, I should not, Terry always says, don't say the last thing because it's never the last thing, is we talked about a couple times here, raising your prices. This is so crucial because I've seen too many incredible practitioners and coaches start at an okay price point, but never increase their price point. And then they get basically, because you were able to get up to 40, 46 clients or whatever it was. And a lot of people have to get to that number, but because they're charging less than half of what you're charging, it just feels like they're not able to hire the right people or continue to invest in mentors. And raising your prices is so important as you get more proof, you get better at your own skills, your time gets more rare. So talk to people a little bit about maybe where your prices started 6 months ago and how you raised them and how you even dealt with like, oh, now I need to sell at a higher price point.
Sure. So I think I was around 2,400 for everything when I started, and now I'm at 3,800. So quite a bit of difference in 6 months, quite a bit of growth. We bumped it up a couple times. And each time that happened, it was because we were looking at my KPI tracker. And so we let data drive the business instead of emotions, which was very helpful. If you can take emotions out of business, you can make much better choices. So, you know, my closing rate was high and it didn't need to be that high. So we were able to bump up the price, which actually allowed us to kind of still work within a great closing rate, but have more of that. Like you said, my time was getting more scarce, which meant my time was more valuable. My entire programs have evolved just simply because of the level of growth that has happened as me, as a leader, as a coach, as a business owner, everything else has leveled up as well. So the value that I'm providing my clients has increased pretty rapidly too. So they're getting more experience, they're getting more investment in themselves. So that just has reflected from a financial perspective as well as what we were able to do by increasing prices. And how I took that on, because it is easy to kind of fall into that imposter syndrome, let it like make you worried that no one's going to want to pay that for me and all of that. Obviously the coaches that work with CCI that we are able to have access to are amazing at helping you get out of your own mind, helping you understand, set that aside, remind you of the process and how things work on mindset. So I, personally, aside from everything, I do a lot of like mindset work around finances and scarcity mindset and not being victim to that, and realizing that if others can do this, that I can do this too. And I've just tried to embrace every opportunity that there has been for growth within the program pricing, to look at it as just a blessing and have gratitude for it. And it's never deterred my numbers. It's never deterred how many clients I'm able to convert by raising my prices. It has not affected me at all yet at this point.
That's the funny thing. Most people, like, if they start to close at whatever it is, 40% or 50% of their calls, even 30%, most of the time increasing price point doesn't change much. I often try to break it down to smaller numbers to help their minds. I'm like, if I'm gonna go buy a burger at one place for $6, actually let's make it tangible, for $24. Let's say it's similar to $2,400. And then if the next time I came around and it was $28, I probably, like, if I really liked the burger there or the meal there or whatever it is, I'd probably still get it, right? And so often we think, oh no, people are going to be like da, 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 da. The funny thing also is, like, when you raise your prices, these new leads coming in, they don't know that these are new prices,
right?
That these are prices, right? And so people are always like, how do I raise my prices? I'm like, here's what you do: you jump on a sales call, and instead of saying $2,400, you say
you say 28.
And that's the formula. And so, and this is so important because with someone like yourself who's growing a big business and maybe wants to scale and start to bring on team members, if your prices were what a lot of people prices are, and you have this amount of clients but only be making, let's say, $20,000 a month, you starting to pay team or these different things, the market smaller, right? It's harder versus if you're now doing $35,000 or $45,000 a month, you have more room to hire good people and not be sweating about it on your end of things, right? And so those big margins just allow you to grow things in a better way. So folks, do we have any questions, by the way, for Aleah? I know we got a lot of people cheering you on in here. I love that. The CCI here as well. They're cheering you on. Any specific questions for Aleah? We have maybe another 3, 4, 5 minutes here, so we can ask some questions here. I'm trying to think, if I have any other questions.
Can I actually tie it back to something that we were talking about earlier? So just like the investment for ourselves, when we join something like CCI and we're paying more for it, your clients that are then paying a higher price for the package are typically more committed to their results, and they tend to be clients that are more invested and do the program completely versus being ones that are not. So you get a client that's going to work better with you.
Absolutely. I posted a reel yesterday where I said, if you charge more, you usually get better clients. If you get better clients, you usually get better testimonials. If you get better testimonials, you usually can market better and get more better clients who are paying. Like it's an upward cycle, right? Where person, we see it happen with a lot of people who charge lower ticket amounts. They charge lower ticket amounts, so people aren't really like invested in the program. They leave bad reviews. You don't get a lot of social proof, and then you try to sell more and it's harder actually. And so I absolutely love that you brought that up, because they legitimately bring in better clients. I've noticed the difference from when we personally in CCI charge less versus what we charge now. You notice slight shifts every time you change the pricing, who's coming in and how committed they are and how like invested they are. And I don't know. It's a powerful thing to see people invested like that. So, well, you know what? I don't think we have any questions, which is totally fine, which means that we must have answered all the questions. So we did a good job today, Aleah. I'm so excited for that. I know you just signed up to work with CCI again in our program. So I'm so excited to see where the next 6 months take you. I know we're working on a bunch of different things, team stuff and different pieces that are going to allow you to keep on sustaining a business like this and helping so many people. So I'm excited to see where the next 6 months go. And just thanks for jumping on here and sharing, because I know for the people watching here today, that's one thing. The people that will be watching this after the fact and like getting inspired from your story, here's a cool way to look at it. The 30-ish minutes that we spent here today could be seen by hundreds of practitioners in the future who, because of you being vulnerable and sharing your story and sharing what worked for you, can help change their life. And that's pretty cool, I think. Just coming back to like that we talked about at the beginning, being service oriented. So I want to thank you for your service in showing up here today and going in depth with me. So thank you for that.
Yep. Well, thank you, Ruben and the CCI team. Definitely, if anyone is considering it and has not joined CCI yet, go all in. It is a decision you will not regret. These are all amazing individuals that truly care for you as a person and want you to succeed, and they will do everything they can to help you along the way.
Awesome. You didn't have to say that, but I wanted
to.
That's great. Awesome. Well, Aleah, I know you're busy. I mean, you got a lot of clients now, so we need to make sure we don't take up too much of your time. Have a great rest of your Thursday, folks. Thanks for jumping on. And by the way, we are doing a workshop next week, kind of going in more depth on the exact system we talked about here with Aleah. So it is a free workshop, basically taking people through how to get to 20K months with this Instagram kind of system. So if you want if you want kind of like link to register, you can go ahead, send us a message over on Instagram, and we'd love to see you there. But other than that, folks, have a great rest of your day, and we'll chat soon.
Bye, everyone.